All Cheerleaders Die. That title doesn't quite sound right to me. It almost doesn't make sense. And this movie actually sounds very much like another horror movie. However, what's this film actually about? Well, here's the issue with this film. It's kind of a hard film to describe because it's kind of got all of these ideas thrown into it. It ends up becoming a bit of a melting pot of a variety of different ideas. Basically, it's kind of a revenge flick at the end of the day, but with a supernatural twist, and involves a kind of group of cheerleaders, really spearheaded by this one particular one, who's Maddie, who initially goes into this with a kind of her own agenda, but ends up kind of roping this group of cheerleaders into having this kind of rivalry with this, basically this kind of gang of jocks, and they sort of end up becoming some strange sort of vampire zombie hybrid who are kind of brought back to life by this sort of strange witch who Maddie had this kind of relationship with previously. And that's basically the movie, but it doesn't really get going until about two-thirds of the way through. And this is my major problem with this film, is the first act of this film, the first third of this movie, is just terrible, terrible beyond words. You don't know what the hell's going on. I went to this movie very sort of unaware of what the plot was. I had a rough idea it was going to be like a supernatural revenge thing, but that's pretty much it. And this kind of the first third of this movie really just, it was so all over the place in its kind of its styles. I mean, sometimes it plays very much like a kind of American Pie sort of movie, but even some sort of goes so far to say as like spoof films, like Not Another Teen Movie. It kind of goes so far as that almost. But you don't understand characters' motivations. It doesn't really make a lot of sense about why people are sort of doing certain things. I mean, you do get some explanation for some of the characters kind of a little bit later on in the movie, but when you're kind of watching it initially, you just don't know what the hell you're watching and why people are doing certain things. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. About a third of the way movie into the film, it kind of starts to sort of go into more of a traditional narrative, I would say, and not kind of just be all over the place, and it's a little bit kind of easy to follow. As sort of film progresses, you do kind of learn, as I say, the kind of some more sort of background about some of the characters, and kind of get a bit more invested in them. But it's so crippled by the first third of this movie, it really does detract a lot from this movie. And like I said, as well, it has kind of these kind of very mix of styles. As I say, it comes across as sort of slapstick in some scenes, and then quite horrific in others, for example. I mean, the acting was good, was okay, I would say, for this kind of level of film, and the production value and stuff like that. It was all quite good. Sometimes it comes across as a bit like of a TV movie. It comes across as a bit like an episode of things like Charmed or Buffy, on some occasions, I would say. But it was okay once the film sort of got going. I guess it's kind of, not really comparable to a lot of the films, because it is kind of such a sort of all these different things thrown into it. It is kind of its own beast, but because of that, it's kind of a mess at the same time. So it was an okay big movie, I have to say, but it really was, unfortunately, the first act of this movie really kind of brought it down quite heavily for me. So I'm going to go 5 out of 10 for this film. What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.